This is the Chopard Alpine Eagle and I am obsessed with this watch. This is the watch that doesn't get much attention, but I think it should. And in general I think the Chopard as a watch brand is quite underrated. Especially its Chopard LUC line. It is a true high-end watchmaking with in-house movements. But our hero today is this Chopard Alpine Eagle watch with a great dial. This is the watch that I would never consider based on pictures or videos I've seen, but on the wrist it's completely different story, for me. I think that since this is the Alpine Eagle model, and as the name suggests, it belongs to mountain scenery and alpine activities. No, I did not take this watch skiing, but I can easily imagine this watch as my companion on the slopes. If you don't mind risking to damage this very expensive piece of machinery, of course. I usually take my quartz watches skiing, Tag Heuer, Seiko Bulova, G-Shock or even Apple Watch. But I'm not an aggressive skier, so I wouldn't mind taking the Alpine Eagle with me. So I spent the week even a little bit more with this Chopard Alpine Eagle, and it was a blast. Big thanks to Ren from Wrist.co for lending me this watch for review. Without him I wouldn't have my hands on this beautiful piece. Apparently when this model was introduced, it was one of the most controversial watches of 2019. This model is a reincarnation of the popular and ugly, in my opinion,
Chopard Moritz.
And I think that the reissue is very well done. When I was reading about this watch, I thought that with 41mm case it's a very large and chunky watch, but in fact the watch is very small for a 41mm stated size. On the wrist it looks and feels more like 39mm watch. Take a look at the watch compared to my Tudor Black Bay 58, Rolex Explorer 2 and Amiga Railmaster. The watch case and hands are very shiny for steel. Apparently Chopard uses its proprietary lucent steel. It is an innovative steel alloy that is tougher and more scratch resistant. This particular watch is from 2019 and it looks perfect for its age. No noticeable scratches on the case or even the bracelet. And I think it's a part of the watch charm, because now all my other watches looks plain and boring against this Chopard. The hands are beautifully done and shiny even in the smallest light. I really like how the seconds hand almost touches the edge of the dial, and the minutes hand is covering the indices. The Roman numerals are not for everybody, but I really like the overall dial design including indices and numerals mix. The case top part is vertically brushed. The polished screws and bevels along with the rest of the design make the look of the watch industrial and elegant at the same time, if it makes sense. The true screws on the top of the watch are aligned with the case curves edges. Take notes, Hublot. The case is beautiful combination of brushed and polished parts. The same goes for the bracelet. The bracelet with the butterfly style clasp featured the Chopard logo. It has one screw adjustment system and no micro adjustments. The watch is 9.7mm thick, which is not bad at all. It wears great on a wrist, but I still would like them to be a bit thinner. What is the most surprising about this model is how it looks and fits. If I wouldn't know it's a 41mm watch, I would think it's 38 or 39mm. The case and the bracelet hug my 17cm wrist perfectly. I measured lug to lug, and if you take the curved down bracelet end links in consideration, it measures at 53.2mm. Interesting fact that the dial finishing is inspired by the eagle eye iris, like the name of the model Alpine Eagle suggests. And the dial is awesome. Again, looking at pictures and videos I was like meh, but on the wrist it literally has a wow effect on me. Even after a week I still enjoy this watch and dial a lot. If it was my watch, it would probably eventually fade off over the time, but for now this is the watch that I don't want to take off my wrist. In certain light you don't even see the Chopard logo on the dial, but you'll see the hands and markers. The watch has a prominent applied and beautifully finished rhodium plated shiny combination of markers and Roman numerals. The impressive anti-reflective coating of the sapphire crystal makes the crystal disappear and showcase the brilliant dial finishing. Altogether the dial comes with a beautiful 3D effect. The markers, numerals and indices are filled with nice and bright blue superluminova lume, no fox patina or anything like that to make this watch vintage, but it doesn't look too modern to me as well. The watch comes with 100 meters of water resistance and a screw-down crown. Skiing, swimming shouldn't be a problem with this Chopard. The date window between 4 and 5 o'clock, the position I personally don't like. The date wheel, though painted with the same color as the dial, which is a very nice touch. The watch is equipped with a true in-house movement. You can enjoy that beautiful movement through the open bay case. The extra surprise and pleasure to see is the movement size against the case. It fills the case perfectly and it's not smaller like some brands do. Somehow this detail adds so much to the general impression of the watch. The movement is a looker. It finished well, but nothing too crazy considering the price tag. It is the COSC certified movement and it has 60 hours of power reserve. As I mentioned before, the watch is industrial and elegant, so in my opinion it's the perfect everyday watch if you like that kind of style. I would wear it with almost every possible outfit and for almost every possible occasion. So what I don't like about this watch? Of course, like many other watches out there, this watch is not perfect. Well, at least in my eyes. Here are three main drawbacks from my point of view. The biggest one for me is the bracelet. It is a good looking and very comfortable bracelet. But if this bracelet would be more tapered, it would be just perfect. For any integrated bracelet watches, bracelet is a big deal, because it's a whole. Yes, there are some options with straps available usually from the brands, but still, the options usually are limited, and with integrated bracelet watches you should pay very close attention to the bracelet. I'm not a fan of 4 or 5 hour date window position, so no date window option would be perfect, like their 36mm version. The thickness, as I said, it doesn't bother me, it sits very nicely on the wrist and the weight distributes really nicely together with the bracelet, so it sits on the wrist amazingly. But I still think it would be nice if this watch would have a thinner case. They actually have another version, Alpine Eagle model with a 41mm case with a thickness of just 8mm, which called Chopard Alpine Eagle XPS. It is a much thinner and no-date model with its beautiful micro-rotor in-house movement. But from what I can see, the bracelet is the same. I personally not a big fan of the model dial color and seconds hand on the 6 o'clock position, and it's much more expensive. So here's my take on this underrated watch with integrated bracelet from Chopard. This is the watch I definitely would be dreaming about and maybe someday would get one of those. Obvious competition by the design, style and price would be the Jaeger-Perregaux Laureato, but I would have a hard time choosing between these two because I like them both. The retail price of this Chopard Alpine Eagle is quite steep, but the secondary market prices are much better. So what do you think about this Chopard Alpine Eagle? Is this something you would choose for yourself or not? Thank you for watching, I will see you next time, bye now and take care.